Oh boy, this film is funny as hell. So I came across this film on Tubi one night when I was in Miami. I had gone to some events, but I wanted to come back and chill. I didn't want to do too much. I just wanted to turn my brain off and watch something very interesting. I didn't want to put my account information into any streaming services, so I ended up watching Tubi, which is a free streaming service, and I came across this film. I just did not understand how we ended up where we were, when it came to the film. Like, things are just happening. This is one of those films also where there's a lot of telling and not showing. You're just supposed to be convinced of what they're saying, even though actions that you see on the screen differ than what the people are saying, the people are about. This film is called The Assistant. It came out in 2023, starring Erica Mena, Erica Hubbard, and some other chick. And Flex, if you guys don't know about Flex, he was in this 90s sitcom called One on One, and boy, that tall, dark, handsome man, he's in this film. And to be honest, there was only two characters in this film I really enjoyed. It's not saying a lot because everybody here they're making dumb decisions. This film is produced by Marquise P. Houston. He is like the triple threat, what people used to be when you thought of a celebrity. That's gone now. Not everybody does that anymore. Our standards have dropped a lot in Hollywood. Let's get into this film because I wrote a lot of notes. I don't want this video to be too long, so I do eventually want to do a full-length, unedited commentary on my Patreon for it. So I'll probably just not talk about that. So we have Erica Mena, who I've never heard of until this film, for the most part, like when it comes to films. I heard of her and just seen her because I think she came from Love and Hip Hop, and then she also was in this viral video.
God, I'm officially divorced! Yes! Now all of this financial burden with my children is on me?
So that's kind of how I was introduced to her. And then I saw her in this film. And I'm like, oh, so she's not really like a legit actress. She's just known for being pretty. Because when you watch this film, she is really not that good. Sometimes you can just tell when someone just doesn't have the skill needed to be a believable actress. You could have chosen any other black chick and put them in the role that Erica Mena was playing, and it would have been 10 times better. Because in retrospect, this film, the story itself is not bad. But you've also seen this story before. I mean, there is an element to it that they did add that I thought was very unique, and if it was done well with better actors, it would have been so much better. But again, this is not that film. Then you have Erica Hubbard, who I remember from watching Lincoln Heights, which was a show on ABC Family that I actually liked a lot because I thought the white guy in it was really cute. That was like her boyfriend. But there was like a nice cast of people. Like, it was actually a really good show. We have the other chick who's supposed to be like the crazy chick. I don't remember her from anything, and she could just be that actress that's in just a bunch of black films. You were never going to see them in a mainstream film. It kind of sounds bad to say, but honestly, if you watch this film, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. I'm not talking out of my ass. So this film is based around this character named Raven, so distraught over the fact that 20 years ago, she delivered some babies, and one baby ended up losing its life because she had to choose between the mom or the baby.
Where are you taking her? I'm so sorry.
Keep in mind, I said 20 years ago. This film is really trying to have me believe a lot of things. Either Raven, the doctor, the OBGYN, either she was 15 at the time of delivery or she was 20. Either way, you are a super fucking young, ma'am, to be delivering babies, because they're either going to convince me that she's 40 or that she's 35, because there ain't no way. Get the fuck out of here, film. She is running this business, this very successful
OBGYN empire, becoming the first woman to own and run a Fortune 500 company.
They will bring that up to you as much as possible because they want you to believe that this business is successful, and she's such a hard-working superwoman. No one is better than her.
Just give a superwoman, sis.
No one. Even though
This is crazy. I can't keep doing this.
I just want to be able to balance it all.
I'm so sorry. We just need more help.
Was that today?
Who knew being a businesswoman would be so hard?
Why aren't you answering the phones?
You told me to get the delivery room prepped for your 1 o'clock.
I really need to find an assistant.
Oh my God.
but she's still superwoman. She's very successful. She overschedules herself and puts an interview for a TV or radio spot for herself because, yeah, she needs to advertise herself more as opposed to staffing her business. Way more important. Priorities are in check. Don't ask questions. Always stressed out. But that is one of the benefits of being successful. That's just what you got to deal with. So just deal with it. She gets home, sees her mans, and her mans is Flex. sexy ass Flex. I didn't know until the end of the film that his name was actually Sean. I was just calling him Flex the entire time. He's there with her, giving her the encouragement that she needs.
But if there's anybody that can handle it, it's you. That's right.
They're both successful. Everybody's successful. You don't see how they are successful. We're just told that they're successful. Thus, believe it. Don't ask questions.
You're already a successful architect. You're established.
I believe him being more successful more than her, because he seems like he seems more level-headed than her. He brings up the idea of marriage because they've been together for a while and marriage is on the table. She is not understanding why he would bring that up at such a crazy time. Like, we're relaxing on this bed, we're drinking wine, we're having a great time.
Why would you ruin your perfect boyfriend moment with sarcasm?
We're two very busy, successful people. I don't know how I'm gonna find time for this. But he reminds her,
That's the beauty of owning your own business. You get to make your own schedule.
which proves he's way more successful than her. I don't believe for a second that she runs a Fortune 500 business. Does anybody even know what that means? They throw that out like it's nothing. I don't know if it means what you guys think it means. We encounter the best friend. Now, the thing about this film, which is why I believe that if they had a totally different actress to play the character of Raven, it would have been way more believable. But even at that, I had issues with Erica Hubbard too. Their interactions did not give me best friend vibes. It just gave me the feeling like they really didn't like each other. She found out that the girl was sleeping with her man years ago and she never let it go, kind of thing.
Living off her father's life insurance money. Wah, wah, wah. Aren't I lucky?
Don't come for me just because your life is in shambles.
And it was just really odd. The best friend, whose name is T, she's living off her dad's life insurance because of blah, 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 something happened. Boom, she's now having no financial worries. For some reason, that bothers Raven. Well, she'll bring it up every now and then, but she'll definitely make it seem like, oh, well, I don't believe in women living off of men because...
What do I look like letting somebody come in and take care of me? Women deserve to be independent and do things on their own. I mean, that's how my mother did it. That's how I did it. No offense.
And she'll say that quite often to the point where it's like, are you jealous of the fact that she don't have to work that hard and still live the life that she wants? I don't know. It gave me fake friend vibes. Then we go back to this very successful business that Raven runs. Her friend Randy, who's going to be out very soon because he got a new job somewhere, he brings her coffee. We're supposed to believe that Raven and Randy have been friends for a while. They've been working together and he should just like know her.
I have black with 4 sugars and vanilla.
Oh no, I'm allergic to vanilla.
Someone who's been working with Raven for a long time that you consider friends with should know that. Anyway, she has to interview people for this assistant job who are obviously going to be not qualified. Like the first girl that she interviews, she thinks she's getting a modeling job, even though she walked through this obvious place that is clearly a hospital.
I really love this company. I need the money. And modeling has always been a dream of mine.
We are in a modeling agency.
Oh.
I get it, comedy. Didn't work, so it was kind of stupid because you have to understand she's walking through the front door to get here. There are signs in this place that clearly states that this is a place for pregnant women. So it failed. And also you have another girl that clearly has never acted a day in her life, but they really just try to give her a part because, like, you know, you got to help people. If you have a goal and a dream, you can achieve anything. That's basically what I thought of when I saw this girl.
Center seems like a really great environment, and I've just been looking for a new change of pace. I would really love to be involved.
Thank you.
And again, this is a montage. So there are a lot of people that you clearly know are not fit for the job that are going to get the boot.
So I pretty much do everything except for coffee runs.
But there were also women that didn't say anything, but looked like they would fit the role, but they got the boot too. But it was just like, if you want me to believe that these women were on the same caliber as the women that were talking that were not qualified, you have to have me believe that by showing me something. Maybe in what they were wearing, maybe in like their facial expressions, something. But they looked like qualified women that just got immediately disqualified because boom, it's a montage. We have to get Annie as the assistant as soon as possible. Annie ends up getting the position, but kind of like on a part-time thing because she don't know yet as far as if Annie's fit for the job. But Annie ends up giving her coffee, which ends up being the coffee that she wanted.
Black, 4 sugars, no vanilla, just how you like it, Miss Fields. It seemed like you were having a rough day.
Raven's trying to understand how you know my coffee. She's like, oh, Randy told me. And I'm thinking in my head, Randy, the one that put the vanilla in it, even though Raven is clearly allergic? Got you, whatever. Annie ends up proving herself. She actually ends up being the best person for the job. Amazing. She catches on really quickly compared to everybody else from what she says.
Wow, you're really good at this. Usually it takes people a long time to even understand the phone system.
Annie is just quick. She's quick with it. Annie did some internship at a local hospital where she was at before, blah, 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 blah. Raven ends up boosting her up.
What do you think about helping me out a little more permanently? Like becoming my personal assistant.
Annie's loving it, loving everything about it. Raven just made her day. She goes and talks to her sister. They meet in restaurants in different places. Her sister just pops up in different places. But she has a busy life, you know. She has a man, she has a child. But whenever it comes to her sister, her big sister, she has time to go out and talk to her sister because they have love for each other. That's her sister, man. So one night while they're working, there is an office party that's taking place for their company. This is where the best friend issue came into play because Raven is supposedly best friends with T. She invites Annie to this office party over T. Now, granted, this is an office party for people that work in the business. I get that.
You have to come with me, and it's final.
She brings it up as if she has no one else to bring. So I'm gonna bring you. And this happens again because she has another thing that takes place that she brings Annie to and completely ignores or forgets that T is actually her best friend.
So the annual medical cares event is tonight. It's actually something that I go to every year alone. And I was hoping this year I didn't have to.
So they go. Of course, it's Erica Mena. And I'm just saying that just from the clips that I've seen from her in Love and Hip Hop and just the viral videos that have gone, she acts exactly the way you expect her to act. Not like someone that owns a Fortune 500 business. Granted, you are letting loose, having a fun time with your co-workers. She does this thing where, you know, sometimes in films people point and laugh like they see someone. Bitch, you ain't pointing at nobody. She gets completely twisted. And it's the funniest thing ever because it's like, yeah, and this is the person that you want us to believe is the owner of a Fortune 500 company. Whatever. In my notes, I wrote down a lot of times, like there was at least 7 red flags that Annie showcased that in anybody else's common sense brain would have been like, oh, okay, I need you to never work with me ever again. Not Raven.
I trust her.
You trust her. You can never trust people all the way these days.
You're right, but I am a good judge of character.
Nothing gets past her. Nothing. One night, her and Annie are at the office. Annie talks often about how her car is always in the shop. Always in the shop, is always breaking down, that fucking car. She ends up leaving before Annie. Even with her car, she still catches Annie as she's at a bus stop. I don't know, just the timing of all that didn't make any sense. Like, how did you leave before Annie and still y'all both made it to exactly where y'all needed to be at the same time? So Annie's sitting at a bus stop.
Get your butt in here.
Takes her and brings her to her house. Her house is actually a shelter.
You live in a homeless shelter?
It's not as bad as it seems.
And we're supposed to believe that Annie did not know that the shelter and the beds available weren't going to be available after 8, even though this is how she's been living all this time.
Please, there has to be one.
You have to be here before 8.
How would you not know that, ma'am? But also, I do want to let y'all know there is an assistant too, and I did see it. This whole process makes absolutely no sense. Raven's like, I can't have someone working for me living in a homeless shelter. You have to stay with me.
Why don't you stay with me for a while until you find your own place?
What? Excuse me? This is your subordinate. How are you just gonna let your subordinate live in your house? Like, that's not smart. That don't make no sense.
Are you kidding me? She's a stranger.
She's in the next room sleeping. And she's not a stranger, T.
But I'm gonna let you go because you a good judge of character and you run a Fortune 500 company, so there's that. While she's in the house, as to be expected, things just go downhill. Like, Annie's doing the job really well, but she's getting super comfortable, like way too comfortable. But also Raven is kind of encouraging it too, so it's kind of like Raven's encouraging it while also you can tell this is obviously gonna end terribly. You're a boss that has your assistant living in your house. You don't even know this person like that. You know, Raven understands her.
You don't know Annie like I do. She doesn't have much friends except for me.
Isn't Annie a grown-ass adult that can make her own decisions?
Don't be worried about Annie. She'll be all right.
I'm telling you, I wrote it down. She has like 7 red flags. It's completely ignored by Raven.
Knock, knock.
Hey, Annie.
Hey.
The boyfriend?
How do you know?
Only picks one independent business a year.
And this year, they chose us.
It's not that serious, Annie.
No, it is that serious. One second you say you need my help, the next it's not that serious.
Right, what's going on?
Wait, do you want me to call the police? Because we could get rid of them.
Family doesn't follow protocol, Raven. So either we're family or we're not. And you will have to understand that, or you will be looking for a new assistant.
He proposed last night, and I said yes.
The same man you told me you never wanted to see or speak to again.
Good morning. I was was actually just coming to wake you guys up.
And Raven ends up talking to her like she's her mom. And it is brought up that that's what Raven kind of like was picturing with her and Annie.
You're like the daughter I never had.
Listen, if we're gonna play that game, 20 years later, ma'am, you were like 15 when you delivered those babies. Like, I'm just saying, if that's what you want to like play, like, I'm treating you like you're the daughter that I never had. Bitch, you're like 30 and she's 20. So what, you had her when you were 10? Like, it has to make sense. She's getting all the information from her best friend T that this is not a good idea. You probably shouldn't have this girl living in your house. You don't really know her. She just works for you.
Look, I tried to warn you, but you wouldn't listen.
But like I said, Raven knows best.
It's not as easy as you make it seem, T. Something clearly happened to this girl, and I'm not putting her out on the street.
She's a very smart, independent woman that don't need no advice from anybody, even her best friend.
I told you about that girl. You need to get her up out of your house. I mean, she has enough money to get her own place.
After a while, you have to believe that they're not really friends. Also, Annie ends up flipping the script. And when I say she flips the script, she flips it so quickly, like you don't even realize that it's happening. It's almost like you miss something once you realize, oh, this is the different sort of character that she's playing now. She first comes off as being this like overly happy, energetic girl, which is super annoying.
I'm Annie Dotson. I'm the new intern. Actually, not that new. It's been a few weeks now.
To like this very sinister, oh, I'm trying to destroy this woman's life as much as possible by any means necessary. Raven and Flex were like constantly keeping in communication with each other, like because he goes away often, and when he comes back, they stay at his house sometimes, they stay at her house sometimes. But now he's not contacting her, and she doesn't understand why.
I text you like 30 times. You didn't respond to any of them. I call you, it goes straight to voicemail.
Sean, do not play me for stupid.
It's brought up that he cheated in the past and he made a mistake.
All right, listen, we talked about this, right? We said we were gonna leave that alone and not bring that up again, right?
He's telling her, listen, I wouldn't do that to you again. I promise you, I am contacting you. And she's like, well, I don't know how. I'm not seeing any missed calls or any text messages from you. So supposedly, Annie went into this very successful woman's phone who, for some reason, doesn't have a lock on her phone, like a lock screen. For some reason, convenient for the plot, erases and blocks the number. So she ain't getting no conversations from him ever. But she's not thinking that. Like, I mean, guess in my mind, I guess you wouldn't think that someone would go into your phone.
Check your phone, Ray. Just check your phone.
But also, how are you so successful that you don't have a lock screen on your phone? I mean, I have a lock screen on my phone. People are nosy as hell. Anybody can just go on your phone and do anything. For someone who is so smart and can read people and understand people so well, how did you not know that this would be an issue? I'm just saying.
I should have believed you. Let's not even talk about this anymore. Baby, you have no idea how much I missed you.
I missed you too, babe.
So they clear that up. Everything is good. But in the process, Annie ends up getting real intrusive on her life. Like just putting herself in her life and like going against Flex.
I don't even know if I can trust him.
Maybe you can't. That's the thing about men. You never know. If you don't have trust, you don't have anything.
You know what? You're right.
Oh, you trying to hurt my friend? Like, I can get the cops to come out right now.
Do you want me to call the police? Because we could get rid of them.
I'm like, oh, all right, bitch, the fuck? Literally in a split second, like in the next goddamn scene, he went from kind of like, bitch, can you get away from me? Like, I don't know you, this ain't got nothing to do with you. So all of a sudden, they friends and they're cooking food together.
You did not tell me that Annie knew how to throw down like this in the kitchen. You know I love me some good cooking.
I was like, I don't know about this. Y'all didn't set this scene up well. Y'all should have definitely wrote that better. And Raven's noticing stuff Annie's doing around the house that could be deemed a little inappropriate. But instead of being like an adult about the situation, she's like very immature on her response to the things that's happening.
That's awfully thoughtful of you, Annie. But Sean and I are gonna be spending some time together. We're going out to eat.
And it annoyed me too, because again, she's a very successful Fortune 500 business owning woman, smart and intelligent, out of all the stuff that they like to say. But then you see how she interacts with people and it just feels like it's fake. Like it don't even make sense. They have this scene where she's like sitting down, looking at Annie as her and Flex are like getting real cozy with each other. And there's a thing that he says to Annie that didn't make any sense.
Anytime. Did you gonna help me later? Yes. Listen to this little secret now.
Gloss past it. It's fine. Why are you looking at her like that though? Why couldn't you say something? Also, why are they acting like they're like the best of friends and Raven doesn't even exist at the table? So confusing. We can tell this film was really trying to be way more superior than it actually was, grabbing ideas from other much better films and try to put it in this without really having the right people to execute it well. So with all the bullshit that Annie is doing and all the red flags that she's portraying, for some reason Raven is seeing but ignoring and not making that big of a deal, T is still there. And she is definitely like, yo, you really gotta check this chick. You gotta get her out of your house.
Are you on crack or something? This girl is living in your house with a bag full of creepy stuff. Doesn't that seem a little weird to you?
It is a little suspect.
A little? You need to call the police.
You're so dramatic, T.
Bitch, you are the dumbest person. Also, we come to find out that Annie obviously is a fucking weirdo.
It's so good to hear my Annie is alive and well. She often says things that aren't true. I like to call her a little special.
So this sister that she's always been seeing at restaurants, that was staying in Raven's house, was not real. As a matter of fact, because Raven ends up coming to this realization that maybe Annie's not all there, but it comes a little too late. It's fine. Annie actually was the twin that actually survived. Her sister that is coming to see her often is the one that died. And so the sister was made up in her head. Oh, okay. Cool. But then you have to realize, like, when you're watching the film, so they bring back scenes where she was there with her sister. There's an Asian lady. When you first are introduced to the sister, is in this restaurant, and you see the Asian lady's eyes shifting between both of them. But then when you watch it where, like, it's actually just her in the restaurant, the Asian lady's only focused on the one sister. I'm like, but y'all should have directed her better, because she was looking at two totally different people in that earlier scene. All I'm saying, it changes a film when you have a good director. Annie is now encompassing Raven. She kind of is giving off single white female vibes, you know, at the advice of her sister. Raven comes in and she notices, and there's also a scene, there's a scene that takes place in this film. Annie is feeling so self-conscious. She's not feeling like she's beautiful, even though she actually is a decent looking girl. Like, she's actually a pretty girl, probably a mixed actress, but she has this really nice full head of curly hair. Raven, with all of her wisdom and her Fortune 500 mindset, she puts this disgusting weave on this girl for a ponytail. And they both play it off as it being gorgeous. The thing that makes it worse is that Raven looks at her with this weave, is like, see, you're beautiful.
Pure perfection. Do you see how stunning you are?
This is like a whole new Annie.
Bitch, this chick was totally beautiful before you put that ugly ass non-matching weave on her head. What kind of message? So you're only pretty if you have a weave in your head? So I'm like, this girl had a nice head of hair and you put that nasty weave on her head. You didn't even pull her hair back well. And you're supposed to have us believe that she looks prettier now. And then she carries that weave in her hair for like the duration of the film until she transforms single white female style. And I'm like, you guys got me all the way fucked up in this film. The red flags from Annie are glaring. She's like not even holding back. She's not even just doing stuff in private and like in the house with Raven. She's doing stuff at the job.
No offense, Ray, but times are changing and I think it's time for us to just, keep up.
No sirens going off. She's not seen as a big deal. Y'all just don't understand Annie. She's just misunderstood. And I'm like, I don't know about this. T ends up being like, hey, I think you really need to like get this girl out your house, which she's been saying for the entire film. But now Raven is like, okay, I think you're right. I'm like,
Look, if you want me to do it, I'll get her out of here.
You always have my back, T.
and she kind of says that, but at the same time, she's like, I would never put her out on the street. I know what it feels like to be like her. And I'm like, I'm gonna need you to stop being a dummy for 1 second, because this film has been trying to have us believe that she's smart while she's all out here just saying the most stupidest stuff and making all the wrong decisions. I need her to use common sense today.
Are you on crack or something?
Actually, prior to this happening, we're about to get close to the end. Raven goes over Flex's house and she's like, hey, T, can you go over my house and check on it? Nope, nothing else. Just check on my house. And it's like, okay. It's like, oh, can you go check on my house to make sure like I turned the faucet off or I didn't leave the stove on? Like, no, just go over my house and check on it.
Yeah, do you mind stopping by my place in the morning? You can find the key under the mat.
This scene is getting set up so T can go and like go through Annie's things to see if she's crazy or not. Then we see these very fake cutout magazine pages of Raven like in publications, but it's just like, this don't even look real. I can make something better off of Canva. Like, what are y'all trying to convince us of? Y'all really trying to convince us that she's like this very successful woman, but I don't believe it. And these rip outs are just making me laugh. Raven's not convinced. Raven is smart.
You need to call the police.
You're so dramatic, T.
So we're near the end. Plan has already been set. They're going to try to get Annie out as quickly as possible. Annie and her creepiness, well, they really try to have her be creepy. Actually, there's a scene that they play. I'll play the scene right now that they really try to have us believe that she's actually creepier than she is.
He loves her not.
He loves her. He loves her not.
Bitch, please. Like, oh my God. So she actually attacks T in her house, and the scene of them fighting is the longest scene ever because there ain't no fucking way it needs to be this long. Like, these are two like regular ass women, right? And they're fighting. I don't know if people understand how a punch works. That shit hurts. Like, your hands are gonna hurt. Have you ever punched someone? I punched someone once, and that was like the last time I ever did it. Then I started punching bags, which was even worse because that shit hurts. You totally know that it wasn't actually them fighting, because when it comes to the females fighting, the hair is always in their face because obviously they're not really fighting, but it's like so obvious that it's not them that it ends up becoming laughable. This is not a Jason Statham film. This is not Michael Jai White. Why are y'all trying to act like these are like fighters? Like, these are not fighters. Annie defeated T. She goes back to Raven's house, and then they have their whole situation. And of course, Annie has her monologue that she has to say, because obviously there's a monologue. She can't just fight. They start fighting, and it's like just as stupid as you would think it is. But then all of a sudden, Annie pops out with this gun. How did she get this gun that we've never seen before? I don't know. And you're never going to know. You're not supposed to know. Stop asking questions. Flex comes in. He's trying to understand what all the commotion is. And he turns around and shoots his ass.
Babe, what's going on? I heard this voice.
Funniest thing ever. Annie ends up getting a knife because she thinks, Raven, that she knocked Annie out, but obviously she's not. She goes over to comfort Flex to make sure that he's good, you know, because he got shot in the chest. She moves out the way. Annie's coming with a knife, and she stabs him dead in the chest, and she twists the knife. Let me tell you something. When I said I was laughing, I could not believe what I was watching on this goddamn screen. Then Raven and Annie started fighting way longer than they should. Annie gets a hold of the knife again because, I don't know, I think somehow it dropped or something, or she was fighting with it in her hands. Still doesn't make any sense. She's about to stab Raven in the most exaggerated scene ever. Then all of a sudden, a gunshot goes off. And it's T. And she shoots Raven in the back. But it's funny because I like critiquing the shit out of films. You can tell when you look at Annie as she falls, she looks to the ground to make sure that when she falls, she doesn't fall in the wrong way to hurt herself. And then when you look at her on the ground, that's not how you would have landed if you actually fell like someone who actually got shot. I got you. No questions needed. Raven asks T, like, oh, check on Flex. Check on Flex.
He's shot, okay?
He's breathing.
What you mean he's fine? He got shot and stabbed in the chest. What are you talking about? Then all of a sudden, 6 months later, because what does time mean anymore? Raven is there in her Fortune 500 company, and there's a new girl who she clearly didn't hire.
So you're the new intern.
Annie looks at this girl whose name is Amanda that should have way more to do with the film than they actually give her. She looks at Amanda in a very weird way. Okay, this one better not be crazy as to the one that I hired. Yeah, they do Amanda wrong. It is what it is. The film's over now. This film was funny as hell. I thought I was going to need this more than I actually did. Having to talk about this film and go through all these notes, it was going to be difficult as hell. But I was like, you know what? Let me just do what I do. Let me just talk. When you have just a smidget of common sense roaming in that brain of yours, you ain't gonna really like the shit that they do in this film. You let me know. Have you seen this film? Let me know in the comments below if you have seen this film, because I'd be very intrigued to read what you guys think. Also, if you love this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell so you're always notified about the new videos that I have coming out. I shot this video like 4 times. If it wasn't the lighting, it was me trying to like make sure I got all my notes correct. And then I was like, you know what? Fuck it. You guys don't know I have a podcast where I talk about life as I travel the US, primarily Florida as of right now, and while I meet interesting people along the way. All that information can be found in the description bar below. I love you all, and like I mentioned, there is an assistant too. It is what it is. I will most likely be back to talk about that very soon, but again, I love you all, and I hope to see you all in the next video.